Welcome everyone to today's webinar. We are super excited to have with us today presenters from GAF and Isolatek, as well as being on the heels of releasing our version 3.0 of the Transparency Catalog, which we'll get you a demo of a little bit later in the broadcast. The premise of our series, Transparency is the New Green, is to shine the light on those building product manufacturers who are investing in product transparency, and for them to share the learnings with what they are learning now or they have in the past or what they're looking to learn in the future from investing in environmental product declarations, understanding the life cycle impacts of their products, as well as material ingredient disclosures, and taking that information and driving it back into product development or in their company's operations. This is our 17th installment, which means we've had lots and lots of people come on and share their stories. And every company has a unique story, a unique journey, a unique set of learnings. And so this format is designed expressly to share those learnings, to provide a context for what the disclosures, which are just technical documents, what those disclosures mean and what the manufacturer is doing to actually improve and or to get higher performing products. So we believe that product transparency does build credibly greener brands, but only when a manufacturer can demonstrate that they understand themselves what those technical disclosures mean, and they're doing something with that information. Because selecting and specifying greener products requires understandable and meaningful information, ultimately hearing these stories from manufacturers who are making these investments, demonstrating they understand what it means, builds trust, and trust builds powerful brands, and powerful brands create preference and value for their companies. So today, quick intro to Sustainable Minds and the Transparency Catalog, and then we'll hand things off to Jeff Terry from GAF, followed by Sean Canfield from Isolatek. We'll do a quick demo of what's new in the Transparency Catalog, as well as showing you live the featured brand showrooms from GAF and Isolatek, which really are worth diving into. There's really great content there. And there may be some questions that come in that we'll take. And if you have questions, please put them in the questions panel. If we don't get to them today, we will for sure follow up with you to get them answered. And this webinar is being recorded, and you will get a link to the recording in the next day or two in a follow-up email. All right, so those of you who are new to Sustainable Minds, we're a B2B provider of environmental product transparency, cloud applications, and services. I'm Terry Swack, and I founded the company in 2007, so I've been in the environmental sustainability and product transparency space pretty much since it actually began as a space. We brought the very first software tool that delivers a streamlined LCA and integrated eco-design strategy overlay for building for any product manufacturer to use an early stage design to evaluate the life cycle environmental performance of products to be able to make informed trade-off decisions. And then when product transparency became a thing as introduced by Lead V4, we took our expertise on streamlined and simplified LCA and making LCA understandable to non-LCA professionals and applied that to the transparency space and became a program operator. In 2014, developed our integrated product transparency and product marketing report. It's our brand of EPD. We call it a transparency report. It is an EPD, and we believe that everything somebody wants to know about a product to get it selected and specified should be all in one place. Why should the environmental information be separate from all the other information people use to make decisions about products? And we are the only end-to-end product transparency solutions provider in the market today. Again, a program operator. We had developed the first two-part PCR program for North America. Transparency reports are our EPDs. We deliver LCA and material evaluation services, which Sean will be speaking to today. And ultimately, because EPDs and material ingredient disclosures are marketing tools, the Transparency Catalog is our platform that we launched in 2016 to make it easy for architects, engineers, contractors, and owners who are committed to building high-performance buildings and looking for manufacturers who have high-performance, greener, and healthier products. We've made it super easy for them to find those manufacturers, their products, their disclosures, and ultimately to reward those manufacturers for being transparent. We're also industry analysts, and when we launched the Transparency Catalog in 2016 at Greenbuild, there were only 350 building product manufacturers in all of North America who had created EPDs and or material ingredient disclosures. Every year subsequently, we deliver a state of product transparency report and look at the increasing number of manufacturers in total, but also the increasing number of manufacturers in each master format, division, and section. Because when we launched the Transparency Catalog, it always was with the intent that it will be a specification tool. And we were super excited in January of 2019 to finally be able to implement master format filtering. And you're going to see how we've even made that more powerful in this new release. But product transparency went from being, something that was really new and really on the fringe to today in 2020. It really has become a specification requirement. And what's important to keep in mind is that environmental performance and material health are performance criteria. They're just like functional performance, cost, aesthetic, safety, all of the criteria that people use to make decisions about products. Environmental performance and material health are now two criteria that people use to make selection. And they have their own ways of making trade-offs of what's more or less important in each project. And so the primary intent for manufacturers to do transparency disclosures is first and foremost for them to understand the environmental impacts of their products across the life cycle and the material health, the potential risks and hazards posed from exposure to those ingredients, and understand what they actually can be doing to improve the environmental performance and material health, again, performance criteria. And today, it's no longer really just enough to be producing documentation because, again, it went from it being a differentiator when people were early, but now really it's pretty mainstream, and there are now over 1,500 manufacturers across 25 master format divisions and 800 plus master format sections. People now are really looking for actual performance metrics because tools are getting better at measuring the overall performance, and people want to actually build higher performing buildings. So optimization of both types of metrics is becoming increasingly important. And once again, what really helps people make decisions is not just the data, but what they believe about the brand. And that's never going to change. People do business with companies that they believe make great products and have a great ethos. So the Transparency Catalog has been designed to really revolutionize green building selection and specification for the purposes of growing revenue and brand value for building product manufacturers. So they actually are incentivized to continue to improve their products and continue to be transparent. And if the design and construction industry does not select and specify these products with transparency information, manufacturers are not going to be incentivized to continue to do this kind of reporting, and or improve their products. It's really this virtuous cycle of supply and demand, and the Transparency Catalog has been designed to support the needs of both constituencies, again, to make it really easy for the most motivated architects, engineers, and contractors committed to high-performance building to find those brands and those products, and for those manufacturers to be rewarded for making the investment in transparency and continuing to improve their products. And so here's the new B3 website, which we'll do a little bit of a demo later, but we continue to really focus on how to make it really simple using the selection criteria that people are using to get whatever task they're doing done, to make it really quick and accurate to find what they need. This is a quick screenshot of the GAF standard listing, which is really the building blocks of the data that's in the catalog that ultimately people are filtering and searching on. And at the core of the listing is all of their product information organized by master format, division, and section. We append the manufacturer's brand name or family name or descriptor, so the user knows what the manufacturer calls their products in that section or division. And then the vertical axis is the product name, and that's going to go to the manufacturer's product page on their website. If they're a featured brand and have transparency reports like Isolatek, it's going to go to the transparency report, which is one integrated marketing tool to make all the content you need easy to find. But in a glance, you're able to see all of the types of different disclosures and some of the results from each in a glance, so that it's not required to drill into each of the documents themselves to understand the level of reporting, the currency of the report, and more information about it, as well as what's new, getting access directly to the three-part specs for the products in that section. With that intro, I'd like to introduce Jeff Terry to tell you about what's been happening at GAF. You can take it away, Jeff.
Hey, thanks, Terry. Really appreciate it. I really don't know if I need to go into more. I mean, you just showed our great the Transparency Catalog, our page there. I'm just teasing, but thank you, Terry, so much for the opportunity to be with you, and very excited to be here with Sean and sharing the panel discussion with Isolatek. So let's just dive right in. We truly believe that kind of product transparency goes hand in hand with market leadership. That is kind of an integral part of kind of our philosophy and belief here at GAF, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But before I jump in, a little background on me. I lead kind of the company's sustainability and CSR strategy, work cross-functionally across the enterprise, from operations to product portfolio to communications and marketing, and all that goes into it. I've spent 25 years, or I should say my last 25 years, really focused in the area of sustainability and CSR and international development across various private sector sectors, including some of that background. I was one of the private sector representatives on the UN efforts in developing the Sustainable Development Goals, specifically around Goal 2. and have a belief. And I think it's important, hopefully that conveys in how we talk about this work from a GAF perspective, that really the cross-sectoral collective effort and impact is really the critical path for us to really solve some of the big challenges we have in front of us in this world. And even being a roofing manufacturer, we know that we have a role to play in helping to address some of these critical roles. So a little bit about GAF for those of you that aren't familiar with us. We are the nation's largest manufacturer of residential and roofing building products. We're a part of Standard Industries, which is kind of our parent company that is made up of a number of operating companies that make up the largest roofing material manufacturing company in the world. We are about a $4 billion manufacturer. We have around 3,700 employees in 30 locations across the United States. One of the unique elements of our building, of our headquarters building in Parsippany, New Jersey, is that we were the first building to earn that LEED resilient design credit. And so it's, whenever we have new employees come into the business, we want them to know, and we want all of our visitors that come and visit our headquarters to know that we take very seriously kind of environmental performance of our products and the operational performance of the company ultimately into our headquarters, in that as we have guests walk into our home, we want them to be in the most resilient place possible. We are a platinum member also of U.S. Green Building Council. Just a little bit more background on GAF. So to really talk about product transparency, and I may step a little higher. I'm not going to go into a lot of details on this, but we years ago began our journey in product transparency, and since then we have about 48 different certifications across both of our commercial and residential business. It really started for us in our commercial business through our single ply membrane products, our polyinso insulation products, our adhesives, coatings, and then our newest single ply rolled kind of commercial roofing material, PVC, having certifications across all of those different. And we've worked in partnership within the roofing sector to really, if you will, stand up some sector-wide, more product generic environmental product disclosures, or for shingles. But over the last couple of years, we've really doubled down our efforts to fully understand the life cycle assessments and impacts of our shingle material, and have product specific environmental product declarations, or with our number one shingle, Timberline HDZ, as well as our whole cool series of shingles. So as we started in commercial, we've truly kind of doubled down our efforts in residential, and we'll continue to look at and fully understand the life cycle impact of our product, of all of our products as we move forward. I'll talk about the why in that as we move forward. So I shared with you before kind of the catalog. A big kudos to Sustainable Minds, a great partner of ours for years. We understand that kind of they are kind of the portal of choice for so many of our customers and business partners, and that's why kind of their transparency catalog is certainly the best of its kind out there, and we're proud to be a part of it. So let's talk about some examples of kind of how product transparency has helped kind of for us to become a part of some of the most incredible projects that have happened in recent years. You guys, I hope, have heard about Georgia Tech's Living Building, the Kendeda Building for Innovative Sustainable Design, is really a one-of-a-kind project. It is kind of arguably kind of the most ambitious green building project that's taken place. They have gone through 20 rigorous performance requirements throughout the building process. What they were looking for, and I think our involvement in our product transparency disclosures ultimately helped them realize that we had a couple of our products that really made sense to fit into this building. And, you know, they look for a combination of great insulation, energy efficiency in their systems, and then rooftop solar, kind of, which has helped to make this building actually produce more energy than it uses. And, you know, one of the things that they were able to kind of get from GAF through our product transparency efforts is realizing that our non-halogenated polyiso insulation board kind of was a product that helped them achieve these rigorous performance expectations of the building. And then by putting our EverGuard Extreme TPO, our single ply membrane, which actually both of which are red list free products, would help them in that rigorous work, also supported the effort that they wanted to capture all the rainwater off of this roof that they put in a catchment and they use throughout the building, which that TPO product is also certified for. So, you know, it's actually a big privilege of ours to be a part of such an amazing project. Kind of incredible kudos to the design team of Lord X Sargent and the Miller Hull partnership. Skanska was the GC on the project, and it was a project that was funded by the Kendeda Fund, which is a incredible organization that really is a leading social investment investor in civic environmental programs in the greater Atlanta area, with its commitment to ecological and social causes. So our product transparency, the disclosures we have, the ability to use the transparency catalog that Sustainable Minds has, helps to introduce our products to architects, designers, specifiers, building owners. Another great example of this is kind of back in 2016, the MGM National Harbor Hotel and Casino was really looking to incorporate both environmental performance as well as design unique special design elements that tie it into the incredible marble architecture of downtown Washington, D.C. And again, our single ply TPO membrane really was a solution for them, not only to support in the beautiful design and architecture of this building, but to help it achieve that LEED Gold certification that it was really working to accomplish in its design and ultimate business performance. So, you know, through this effort, through the years of doing this work, we've had some really key learnings and insights. And I think the biggest thing for us, and I'll share with you, is that we focus on product transparency and achieving environmental product declarations, health product declarations, not to help us sell our products better. That may have been a focus early as we started thinking about, and we saw a competitive advantage certainly in being more transparent around our products in the early days of this effort for us doing it. But what we've discovered through this process, and especially over the last year, is it's really going through the LCA, the life cycle assessment work, helps us and will continue to help us make better products. And that's really where we see product transparency for us benefiting us, and the big learning for us as well. Does it help support selling, specifying our products? Absolutely. But more importantly, it actually is helping us determine how we make better products in the future, whether it's on the residential side of the business or on the commercial side of the business. You know, we've also learned through partnerships like we have with Sustainable Minds, and we've taken a lot of the learnings that they have done through their transparency catalog, and really helped to create our own tools to better understand and present our products to kind of our customers and our building partners. We started that by developing the GAF Eco Scorecard, which actually was a way that we could package all of these 48 different certifications that we have and make it available and easy within the business as well as with our customers outside. It's helped to inform kind of creating that green building playbook that points to resources like the Transparency Catalog to get kind of the product transparency information right at the fingertips of that specifier, architect, building owner that wants that information. But beyond the selling tools, it's also informed kind of an internal strategy around products and material circularity. Kind of a big focus of ours as in the company now and moving forward is around how do we ensure that our products and materials stay in the marketplace for as long as they possibly can. And kind of the depth of work in product transparency really is intended to help us do that more so and more intentionally into the future. So you may ask, why? Why do we do this? And why should product transparency or transparency around your product and material information be important? I'd simply say that because looking through the product transparency strategies of a company and willingness to put transparency around their products and materials available to the marketplace actually is a window into that kind of company. We know that increasingly in our kind of in society is people want to know more. They want to fuel themselves with information and knowledge to decide what are the best products, what are the best brands, what are the best things to associate with. And truly our belief that product transparency is a window into us, is a window into the kind of company that GAF is. And we're putting a bet on, increasingly homeowners, business owners, specifiers, architects, designers are going to want to work with the kind of companies that are willing to lead the way in making the best products and making the best information about their products and their company available. So that's really why transparency is important. And it's because the future, I just mentioned it, the future is all about kind of what consumers all over the marketplace are expecting more and more out of companies and brands. I'd say, sustainability has been here for a long time. It's taken on different definitions, if you will. We've seen it ebb and flow over the last 25 years as it relates to where the economy is. But I think we're truly in a place today where sustainability is core to the operational beliefs of the marketplace. And one of the key aspects of that is transparency that companies have, that brands have around what they do and what they make and how they make it. Because I think the future is not just about transparency, it's about traceability. We're already seeing in other sectors kind of the demands of customers of understanding where do the ingredients of that product come from. And I think traceability is a future that we in the building sector will need to get our heads around and really prepare for and ensure that we are bringing transparency and disclosure into our products, how we make them, and where they come from. So with that, it's a pleasure to be with you guys today. Happy to answer questions as we go along. And Sean, with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Great, Jeff. Thank you. And good afternoon to everybody. A special thanks to Terry and Sustainable Minds as our partnership has taken place over just the past year. Certainly welcome the opportunity to work with you this afternoon and share with you our experiences as Isolatek International and what we have learned, perhaps what we already knew, but what we also learned as we move through the process of creating the documentation that Terry and Jeff have spoken about. My name is Sean Canfield. I'm with Isolatek International. We are a global provider of structural steel fireproofing materials. Currently, I am part of the marketing and sales team here in New Jersey. And prior to that, having joined the company in 1997, I entered through our technical services group, which was very much a consultative role within the company, working with architects, engineers, any member of a project team in commercial construction projects worldwide that would be looking for guidance with respect to the right fireproofing materials, given the environment in which they would be used. From there, moved on into technical sales out in the Midwest, and then returned in early 2000s to New Jersey, and since that time have had various product management roles, ultimately to today, where I have the title of National Accounts and Regional Sales Management for the northern tier of US states. The sustainability aspect, particularly associated with our products, even since my time here at Isolatek from the late 90s, has always been of interest because of the number of attributes our products bring to the table. And those were well known and identified certainly well in advance of our partnership with Sustainable Minds. But as we engaged with Terry and her organization, we began to realize, and I think better quantify and identify exactly what those benefits were. Isolatek was founded in 1875, and at that time, we focused on insulation primarily for residential applications, and was and still is today, although used for structural steel fireproofing, was a mineral wool insulation that was melted and spun. It wasn't until the 1950s that the company began a very focused effort on developing products, spray-applied products, that would protect the structural steel framework of a building. And that really brings us to today, where since the 1950s, that has been our sole focus. Of course, since that time, the product offering has matured considerably, where at one time it was strictly a manufacturer of structural steel, traditional applied fireproofing products. But fast forward to today, and we are a single source provider in that we offer applied fireproofing, Intumescent fireproofing, along with rigid board fireproofing. These products, for the overwhelming majority of instances, are housed in Division 7. And you see on the slide the respective section numbers within Division 7, 078100 applied fireproofing, 8120 Intumescent, and 8200 for rigid board fireproofing. As I mentioned, the entire organization realizes the sustainability characteristics of our products, but also too through this process has also brought visibility and awareness to the processes that have been in place for quite some time, but has helped us realize what we do well, what we do very well from a processing standpoint, and where we can continue to improve upon. So the term fireproofing is synonymous with coatings that are applied to a building's structural steel framework. And essentially these coatings are, and their role is to delay the rise in temperature of the steel such that it does not lose its ability to carry the load. And the model building code, of course, will dictate, based on the building types and occupancies, what the required ratings are. Products then applied to the structural steel to ensure it is protected for the prescribed period of time. So the picture that you see on the right, the only picture shown now, it gives you a sense as to protected steel with fireproofing, applied fireproofing. And in this case, this happens to be a fire that occurred at a petrochemical facility. So likely a bit more intense than what you would experience in a more commercial environment, but then nonetheless, it does an excellent job of showing the effects of fire on fireproofed protected steel and on unprotected steel. And you can see the warping and twisting of those secondary members that were not protected. The three types of fireproofing are spray applied. Again, probably the most well-known and most widely used because these products the capability of these products are so great that they can essentially provide fire ratings to almost any type of structural framework of a building, and represent a very cost-effective way to do so. Over the years, and particularly within the last 10 years, the increase in use of Intumescent fireproofing products, and that's the picture shown in the middle, where in this particular case, which was Lester Pearson Airport up in Canada, Toronto, the structural columns were left exposed but needed to be fire rated, and the Intumescent fireproofing products were an ideal choice for it, maintaining the aesthetics of the steel, but also delivering the fire resistive ratings. And then finally, rigid board fireproofing, which is the picture on the far right, and is shown to the underside of metal decking, where a fire resistance rating is required. And it is very much a solutions oriented type product, ideal for cold weather applications or where fire resistance is required in an occupied building. The ability to come in with this type of product is done so in a much more seamless way compared to the first type, the traditional applied fireproofing materials. So when we partnered with Sustainable Minds, we made a concerted effort to develop transparency documents for all types of fireproofing products, the three types that we that I had mentioned in the previous slide, and did so as we were recognizing the demand in the market and in the industry for those requirements. And as a result, developed documentation in the form of EPDs, HPDs, declared labels, and emissions. And so the transparency catalog that you see there would be what you would be exposed to when visiting Sustainable Minds website and the Isolatek showroom. And of course, our website has linkage to the Sustainable Minds website as well. There are, as you see here in the traditional applied fireproofing category, a host of different products, and information would be available for each of those products when clicked on. Give you a sense as to the transparency reports and the EPDs that are associated with our products, and some of the unique projects that we are allowed and have the good fortune to be involved in from a fireproofing standpoint. Again, in an effort to recommend and prescribe what is going to be the best solution for fire resistance of these structures. On the far left is All Aboard Florida, and the picture, of course, on the right is Apple World Headquarters. So Jeff had shared two very key projects in his earlier program, and as I developed the content for today's presentation, I thought back not necessarily to a specific project, but rather Google, who we have been very much involved with even prior to our partnership with Sustainable Minds. And they came to mind because of their awareness and focus as it relates to sustainability, life cycle assessments, and so forth. And so we've had the good fortune of being able to provide our products, and in particular the Intumescent fireproofing products, for a number of Google projects nationwide. And they have gravitated towards the Intumescent products for a number of reasons. But again, because of their awareness and the degree to which we focused on working with them and telling what our products are able to do and what they bring to the table in terms of transparency was the reason we identified them as kind of the proof point for us moving forward. As I may have alluded to earlier on in the opening of the program, we had always known that a number of our products, almost all of our products, have an excellent track record of sustainability and the processes not only that we use to produce them, but the materials we use with very high pre-consumer or post-consumer recycled content, the sourcing of those raw ingredients, all of which led to our belief that a very sustainable approach and story associated with our products, but the partnership with Sustainable Minds allowed us to bring it all together. We learned, of course, it was a monumental project, and I was involved, but mostly involved in the program was our technical services team, and of course, it spanned company-wide because of the amount of information that we had to gather in order to create the documents that exist today through Sustainable Minds. It identified for us the processes that we already knew were in place, but also allows us to look at where continual improvement can take place. One such example would be the reduction, elimination of waste and landfill where feasible. We knew that the environmental performance factors associated with these products were present, but allowed us greater visibility and I think clarity to exactly what each and every product brought to the table. And today, as it's been for some time, it remains a major focal point with respect to new product development. I think back in particular with the Intumescent coatings nearly 30 years ago, when we as a company went down the road of developing our own technology, and at the time and still to this day made a conscious effort to develop water-based Intumescent products that are either zero VOC or extremely low VOC, and taking in other factors in consideration to generating what is a very sustainable and user-friendly product. Our experience with possessing the documents that we now do with our partnership with Sustainable Minds, in our experience, allows the design community to understand what impact the products will have on the building's interior environments, and I think just as importantly, the impact of the human impact, particularly within the interior of the building, as that structure throughout the structure's service life. The importance of product transparency, as I mentioned, is certainly at the forefront of our new product development and current product processes. And I think that what we've learned through Sustainable Minds has brought the package together completely. One area, and perhaps it's a function of our relatively short partnership with Sustainable Minds, is we over time perhaps will be able to understand the investment and exactly what the transparency documentation and partnership we have does yield in terms of return. And it's not even a financial return, rather. We would just love to quantify and best quantify how this information is being used, where it's being used, and how frequently it's being used. And again, we'll work with Sustainable Minds, and over time, I'm sure the picture will become much clearer. So with that, I want to thank Terry and the Sustainable Minds organization again, and the opportunity to work in tandem with GAF and Jeff from GAF in this afternoon's program.
Well, thank you, Sean and Jeff. It has really been interesting to hear both of your stories told together. A company that has been investing in transparency for a number of years and working with GAF, and also starting this journey with Isolatek and mobilizing the company, as Sean has said. I want to jump over to the Transparency Catalog and show you actually live how to find their products as featured brands. They're featured because they have a lot more content than just the standard listing, and they actually have both. And I want to show you how these new features in the Transparency Catalog, how to get more information specific to what you want, literally in a single click. So I want to first bring your attention to the featured brands on the left, and you can see here that there's GAF and there's Isolatek. And so you can get right to the GAF showroom by clicking right there. You know that that's there. And you can see in the showroom, all of their products are organized by product type, master format section. And it lets you know the types of disclosures that they have, if there's a material ingredient disclosure and or an EPD. Back in 2016, when we launched the Transparency Catalog, we also partnered with GAF to create this report type, which we call a performance fact sheet. And the performance fact sheet allows a manufacturer to tell a story about a group of products or a product system and aggregate all of the information that somebody needs for selection specification on the same page. So in this case, this is a performance fact sheet for the Extreme TPO, which Jeff had been talking about for the Kendeda project. So you can see that's the product itself, the white coating. But the performance fact sheet gives you the list of accessory products you also need to install that Extreme TPO. And you have all the information about features and functionality. These links take you to the GAF website for more specific product information about each of those things. You can get access to specification help and the specifications. You see all the other disclosures that they have. And then right here, a user can get access to the EPDs and the declare labels and the HPDs for all of the products in that product system, with some information about how GAF is making a healthier product. And right here in the performance fact sheet, we show which green building rating systems the disclosures that GAF has for these products contribute to, and those link directly to the green building rating system credits. And of course, you can always contact GAF. So every product in the showroom either has a performance fact sheet or a material health overview, which focuses more on the materials story. And from the showroom, so for people who like to look at things visually, this is a great way to get in, get all the information, print it out, save it, whatever you want to do. They're great sales tools for GAF customer-facing folks who may be demoing online or doing a lunch and learn. And then if you want to flip into the listing view, which is simply another way to view all the products, that link right there takes a user to the listing. And in a glance, you can see all of the products organized by master format, and then specifically be able to look at just the stuff you want to look at, whether it's the roofing or the asphalt roofing or the membrane roofing, or you can always look at everything all at once and literally see in a glance every single product in each master format section. Again, access directly to the EPDs, the HPDs, the declare label, and the 3-part specs. We'll be adding more of those and even additional content about the transparency documentation that GAF has. Same thing if you go to the Isolatek showroom, organized again by master format section. Because these are spray-applied coatings, this is what they look like when you purchase them in the bags. And then you're going to click in to the transparency reports, which are Isolatek's EPDs. This is Sustainable Minds brand of EPD, where we've integrated product transparency with product marketing, where you're going to get all the features and functionality, the list of all the disclosures and certifications. These link to the product pages on the Isolatek website. Be able to download the guide specs, and in this downloadable zip file is every single disclosure as well as the guide spec for this product. So AECs looking to select and specify this product can just get everything in one click. And you can see down here, here's the indicators that show that it is an environmental product declaration, that it's been third-party verified, and it is compliant with the LEED 4.1 requirements to provide summary information on the front page so that GBCI can eyeball it and know that it is compliant for LEED. Our transparency reports are designed to help make environmental reporting information more understandable and meaningful. It is all online. Here's a quick summary of what is contributing to the greatest impacts, and with links to the LCA background report, the PCR. This online transparency report is downloadable as a PDF, as well as all the Green Building Rating System credits it contributes to. We also have integrated the material health information. If you're looking for environmental impact assessment, then you're going to want the material health. So we ask the question, why would those be found in different places? And so a user can toggle between the life cycle environmental impacts and the material health. Notice that Isolatek has red list free declare labels for 99% of their products, and we help to try to explain what that means. And we work with the manufacturer to write this interpretation and explanation of how did this product achieve red list free status. So what is declare, what's in the product and why, what are they doing in the manufacture and consideration of human health impacts, where does the product go at end of life, because that's one of the things that the declare label talks about. And here they're actually able to talk about what they're doing to make the product healthier. They also did do an HPD for the same product. So these are the results of the HPD. Again, we try to make the technical disclosures a little bit more understandable and meaningful. Again, a quick explanation of what these evaluation programs are. You can always go read about what each of those programs are. We don't assume that people know. And then again, at the bottom, you can link directly to the declare labels, the HPDs, the technical documents, and the Green Building Rating System credits that they earn. And then finally, on the third page of the transparency report is where Isolatek talks about what they're doing in each life cycle stage, contributing to the performance improvements that they're talking about on page 2. Again, trying to bring some explanation and some context to this technical information that not a lot of people really can understand unless you're a life cycle assessment person. And so if you come back here to the Transparency Catalog, I've just shown you how to go directly to their showrooms and their listings. But now we're really letting users search by either master format division or product type if they aren't familiar with master format. And so here's a scenario. Let's say a user is working on specifying products for Division 7. And so they're saying, all right, well, I'm going to start working on Division 7. I could pick a section right now to start with. I don't have to. So let's just go ahead. I don't have to use the search field if I don't want to. And I can go right here to Division 7. And what the user is going to see is every single building product manufacturer who is invested in transparency in North America, all right here in a glance. So it's a very active division. In fact, it's the most active division with 186 brands and a lot of products. So there's a lot of activity and a lot of competition. But you can see that because both Isolatek and GAF are featured brands, there's access to their featured brand showrooms right here at the top of Division 7. And it turns out that the amount of content consumed from the featured brand showrooms is 5 to 10 times more than the standard listing, which they also have, but every other manufacturer has as well. And because there's just more content that people use to inform decisions and find it very valuable. So now that you're in Division 7, there's a whole bunch of ways that people can continue to filter to find just the brands or the products that they're looking for or that they need. You can start by saying, well, I'm really just looking for now products in 0720. And when you click 0720, the way we've designed that filter is that every section within 0720 continues to display. And we did that for two reasons. One, and notice it's now filtered down to 69 brands and 414 products. But we want people to be able to find brands they may not have known existed, and also to find solutions to the same specification that they also may not have known existed. And so the user will say, all right, well, great, I'm going to work on vapor retarders later. I'm going to need that. I'm not going to need a weather barrier. I am going to work on roof deck, but really let's focus on 0721 right now. And again, the user can continue to filter down to just include the product types that he's interested in, that she's interested in. It's still a lot of brands and a lot of products. So at that point, a user might say, great, show me all of those brands. At which point they might say, yeah, I just want to see these particular ones. And then just look at those brands. It might be that a user knows about a brand name and but can't remember the manufacturer, in which case, again, these filters can be used in any order. So, maybe I type in the product name, but I can't remember the manufacturer, and you'll see that, oh, okay, great, that's BASF. Now, again, all of these filters can be applied in a single search or investigation and in any order. So another scenario might be that a user's working on, let's just pick a different division. Well, actually, let's stick with Division 7 because both GAF and Isolatek are in it. One of the things I also wanted to point out was that access to their brand showrooms are right there, but also access to their listing is right here. So if you've looked for products from GAF in Division 7, you might say, I know GAF has more products than just Division 7. Let me go look. And now you're at the listing where you can actually see every master format division and section. You can see they've got some products in Division 32. But just lastly, I wanted to show you quickly, if the user is working on a building for project certification, one of the ways they might start is to say, well, I'm interested in Division 7, but for example, I'm working on a living building challenge building. So show me every manufacturer with products in Division 7 that I can use to contribute to the LBC certification, which is what the Kendeda Building was. And notice GAF and Isolatek come right up. And again, because they're featured brands and they have more content, they're going to show up first. Not because they've paid more to be in higher ranking in the search results, it's simply because they have more content. And you can always see which brands show up and just select the ones you want. You don't have to page through. We've added a couple more filters. You'll be able to find all of the Buy Clean California products and companies, which isn't Division 7. But for those of you who are interested in supporting manufacturers who are Living Product 50 companies, that's a new advocacy filter we've added. And if you're looking for a company and you maybe are spelling it wrong and it's not coming up in search results, you're always able to go back to the complete listing of brands. They're all on the front page where you can visually scan and see if there's a company in the back of your mind or that you know about and you weren't spelling it right. You can find it right there and click right in. All right, we're at the top of our time, and I could continue to demo. We're super excited about this release, but I do want to thank GAF and Isolatek for sharing their stories, and especially for all of the really nice and supportive things you've said about working with us, which we appreciate. And every time we work with a manufacturer, there's so much learning in it for us that it really is a quid pro quo, a two-way street, that we all get something out of the process. And you know, the biggest result is that collectively we're creating content that really should help the people who are interested in building high performance buildings to find those manufacturers who also want to help them do the same. Thanks so much. Thank you, Sean and Jeff. And I'm going to wish everyone a great day.
Thank you.